Hi everyone, my name is Maria Gracia Santillana. I'm a careers reporter here at Forbes, and today I'm joined by Lindsay Brewer, a racing driver and content creator. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I know we're going to talk a lot about a lot of things today, but I want to start with getting a little bit into your own racing career. Talk to me how you first started racing, how you got into the sport.
It was a bit of a unique situation. I have zero family or anyone I know in racing. I just went to a birthday party at a go-kart track when I was a little kid, about 11 years old, and absolutely fell in love with it. Ended up beating all the adults and all the boys there and just fell in love, couldn't get me out of the go-kart. So I ended up going back the next day. Couldn't get me out, and so my dad bought me a go-kart, and I raced my first regional championship the next year when I was 12, won that championship. I was like, okay, maybe I am good at this. So I ended up competing nationally throughout high school in shifter karts. Then raced, dabbled a little bit into cars, got like my racing license for cars, did a series called Legend Cars in 2015, won the national championship in that. And then unfortunately, racing is a very expensive sport. So I had to take 5 years off for university. My family couldn't financially support me any further past that level. So kind of took a pause on racing, got a business degree, then started to grow my social media in that way and started racing full time again in 2021. And so I feel like I've been in the racing industry a long time, but yet this is only my fourth or fifth now, I guess, season coming up to it racing cars. So it's been a little bit of a journey and ups and downs, but it's been great.
Talk to me a little bit about that break you had for university. What made you want to come back to motorsport?
So I was super fortunate to find my passion at a young age because once I had raced, even since I was 12, I knew this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I knew this is what I wanted to do for my career. I knew there'd be nothing that could stand in my way to get to that point to make this a career. And I'm a sort of the type of person that, like, if I have my mind set to something, like, I almost to a delusional level, like, I will make sure I get that done. And so I knew if I it was out of my control finances at that point. My family didn't have connections in racing, so I knew social media was starting to become a thing. Kind of right when influencers were first beginning on Instagram in 2015. So I just knew if I was able to grow my audience, then potentially I could use that in order to get funding for my racing. So that's exactly what happened. I studied for 4 years. I really enjoyed my experience, like met some great people, had a great experience at San Diego State, and I felt like I was able to use some of that business teachings into my racing as well, and into getting funding for my racing. And so it was an interesting, unconventional way to sort of get back into the sport. But my mind was, I knew I was going to be racing again. It was just not if, it was when I would get back to it.
Yeah, and I think that kind of connection of using content creation to further your racing career is really interesting to us. How did you know that that was kind of going to be the way to finance, your the sports side of your business?
Well, I think I just knew because it was something I was super passionate about. Like, it to me, it wasn't just transactional, like, oh, I'm just doing this to fund my racing, I guess. Like, I really enjoyed sharing my life and I really enjoyed showing what I'm doing. And so I initially I was just posting lifestyle content because that's what I was around. I didn't really have access to cars when I was in university. But then once I graduated, I started posting more car content, and there's a big auto scene here in LA in Orange County. So I started posting a bit more about it in the automotive space, and I saw the traction that that gained and the opportunities that that was starting to bring in. So I think that's when I knew, okay, wait, I really can make this my way back into the sport. And so it was just, I don't know, it's just something I knew I love doing, and I felt like I knew there was a smart angle of ways I can combine it because it was such a niche, especially for women in motorsports. There's so few of us. I'm like, okay, maybe there is an angle here. Yeah, so that's kind of how it
Yeah.
started.
Did you have any inspirations or role models going into motorsport as a woman? As you said, there's not a lot of women in all kinds of motorsports, but I wonder what you were seeing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Danica Patrick was one of the key pivotal figures growing up because she honestly was one of the only women that I saw that was very notable. And she was another woman, I think, that used her social media and her not, I don't want to say appearance, but just her persona to her advantage, and getting partnerships based off that, like GoDaddy. So that's, in a business sense, I respected her on that angle. But then I also really looked up to Susie Wolf, even from a younger age. Susie Wolf, and now she's obviously doing F1 Academy, which is amazing. And I saw Sarah Fisher, obviously, and Catherine Legg. And so there was a few key female driver figures that I really looked up to, but I really did like how Danica, I saw that path that I was like, okay, if she can do it, why can't I do it? Which I am hoping to provide for girls now, posting my content. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like you're really thinking about this as a combination of both, right? Not just racing, not just content creation, but both of them together.
Yeah, because I love both of them. Like, obviously, racing's my number one passion. It's what I've loved doing since I was a kid, but I love content creation, and I've been doing it for 10 years now. So it's just, I feel like it's also a part of me. And I feel like a lot of people in racing used to not take me serious because, yeah, they didn't take me seriously because of that. And now I think content creation, everyone is a creator now. I feel like it's such a like saturated space, which is good. People are having their own brand, but it's much more recognized as like a legitimate career now. But back in the day when I was doing that, I got made fun of a lot by not only my peers in college, but also when I got back into racing, people in the paddock and men did not take me seriously because I would be posting TikToks at the track. And obviously when it came down to race, like, have to separate the two. But when I had hours of free time in between sessions and I would post some TikToks, I definitely got some backlash from the guys in the paddock. But now I see everyone else copying it, so I'm like, hey, you got
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
How has that changed, right? Just not just from the prevalence of content creators in motorsport, but from a respect perspective to your own career.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning, it was tough because I took that break. And so people, when I got back into racing, people were saying, who's this influencer pretending to be a race car driver? And I'm like, I've been racing since I was 11. But I think obviously I wasn't taken as seriously at the beginning, and I hadn't proven myself until, I would say, even until this year, when I was winning races and I almost won the championship. I was 2 points back in this Lamborghini championship. I think that's when people were like, "Okay, she can drive, she's not just a content creator driving." And, I think, again, maybe once I got up to the Indy Next level and open wheel, you have to be quick to even be able to compete at that level. Like, there's a certain threshold of time that you have to be from the quickest driver to even compete there. And so I think that's sort of when I felt a shift of respect. And I think, again, once the creator space changed and now more and more people are creators and they understand the value of that, I think that's when the respect sort of shifted, and they're like, wait, this is actually really smart of you to be able to use the content creation to help fund your passion and your career in racing.
Yeah. How do you view your role kind of sitting in between of these two worlds and bringing more women into motorsport?
Yeah, I think, of course, the goal for me is to, I love showing what I do, but my personal goal is to show young girls and other women that, look, there is a space for them here in motorsports, not even just as a driver, but engineers, strategists, people in marketing, just any other role in motorsport is so important to showcase, like, look, there's a space for us here. It's not just unattainable. Like, you can be here. And I hope that at least just showing myself in that position on the track and winning races, like, it's like, yeah, you can do this. And right now, that's what I'm doing, but I'm hoping to expand upon that and sort of help women further by, it's been a goal of mine to start like a go-karting league for young girls, and I want to eventually do more philanthropic work for younger girls. So that's like kind of on my radar next. But for now, at least I'm able to like showcase, look, like, yeah, there's a spot for us here, and it's, if you want something bad enough, you can't make it happen.
Yeah, and I think your point, right? It's almost leveraging this niche to progress. You mentioned Danica Patrick with the GoDaddy sponsorship. Susie Wolf, I also think, has been kind of a pioneer in the F1 Academy space by getting people, makeup brands, luxury, fashion brands to partner with the traditional kind of like male sport. I wonder how you're thinking about these strategic partnerships, right? That you can leverage to grow your own brand, but also to get more women into the sport, even just knowing what it is.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've been fortunate enough to work with some amazing brands on and off the track. And yeah, even to name a few, like I'm going and working with Win and Guest Jeans this weekend at F1 Vegas, which is really cool. And I just did a partnership with Qatar Airways, which was really great. And there's just been some amazing brands that I've gotten to work with, like C4 Energy sponsored my racing for a few years. And I think it's great, again, what Susie Wolf's done with F1 Academy, with Tommy Hilfiger and Charlotte Tilbury. And that's sort of on my radar next. I really want to work with a makeup brand. So I've been talking to a couple and of my favorite ones, and fingers crossed, because I think there's such a play there, especially I'm wearing a full face of makeup when I have the helmet on. Like I want to look good, feel good, and perform better. So I think it's really cool that I'm able to combine both worlds, and so has Susie in F1 Academy, and I love seeing that progression.
Yeah. How do you ensure your content feels authentic to you, to the sport, and also to the brands that you're partnering when you're partnering, sitting in the midst of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think what makes me me is I always will be super girly still. I love fashion, beauty. I love being like a badass race car driver, but still wear my fake nails and my makeup. And I think to remain authentic to myself, I post not only race car content, but I post lifestyle content and beauty content as well. And I love doing both. And so I always try to remain authentic to myself in that sense. And I think that also helps with brands because they see that authenticity, and I'm able to work with like motorsport brands, but I'm also working with fashion and beauty brands. And so I think it's obviously a balance. I want to try to diversify my content as much as I can, but I just try to post what I like to post. And I feel like that's what ends up performing the best.
Yeah. Obviously it sounds like an incredibly busy schedule. How do you balance kind of, your preparation for an athlete, your brand deals, the editing and kind of approvals that obviously on the content creation side takes some time?
It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a busy past few months. I just got back from Europe, and my last race of the season was in Italy, and so I was there for 3 weeks. I was testing with Formula E for the all women's test, which was incredible with Penske, and now I'm going to Vegas, and then I fly to Qatar next week for that race in Formula One, and so it's in between all that travel. I have to maintain, like I have to be in shape. I have to drive on my simulator and be in the best driver shape I can be. But then I also have to think about what content do I need to capture and film. And so I'm fortunate. I have a great team around me. I have like a personal videographer, photographer that I keep on retainer that travels a lot with me, and he edits my stuff. I mean, I'm the one doing all my social media. I have all my logins. Like I don't have anyone run it for me because I feel more authentic that way. But I do have a great management team, PR team, videographer that I've worked with for 5 years. That I really have a core group of people I trust, and I found that like really helps me. And my fiance can travels with me as much as I can, because I think mental health is also a huge role. Like when you're traveling so much. And as a professional athlete, having, and especially in racing, it's such a mental sport. Your mental health is so important. So I do feel burnout at sometimes, but like I don't know. I do enjoy living this fast-paced lifestyle as well. You have to be a bit crazy when you're a race car driver, I feel like. So, I enjoy it, and I just try to balance. It's all about like balance, in my opinion. And yeah, but it is hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm not strong enough, or I didn't do enough sim time, or I'm not posting enough content, or like there's so many different aspects of what I do. I'm not just an athlete, and I'm not just an influencer content creator. Like I am spread thin, but I try my best. I try my best. Yeah, that's all you can do.
It's the double like edged sword of a multi-hyphenate, right? There's a lot of things and things that you can do to fill up your day.
Yeah, and I'm trying to start a business and do 2 different businesses actually. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's fun.
We've talked a little bit about kind of these all women racing series from the Formula E test to F1 Academy. Wonder what your perspective is on how those are helping women get into kind of the bigger light in motorsport.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue of why there's not a lot of women in motorsport right now is just that initial funding and initial investment. And obviously the eyeballs of not now, like before F1 Academy and these women's series, like weren't a lot of women in the sport, and there weren't a lot of eyeballs on women. So I think now that we have F1 Academy, it's showing again, like, look, there's a space for us, there's a space for women. But I also think it's giving young girls that initial investment and opportunity to get up from karting to the junior formula level, because you see a lot of girls in go-karts, but then you don't see a lot of girls jump up, take that next step up to junior formula. And it's that gap and that funding gap, which is why I had to take 5 years off for university because I didn't have the funding gap. And I wish F1 Academy was around when I was when I was a bit younger. But yeah, I think it's just really great to have these opportunities because it's just giving women that chance that they didn't have and they didn't know even existed. So I think, and to have more brands continue to fund women, it's not only good for their PR marketing, which is great in itself, but it's also good to engage different audiences. So like it's a smart play for brands because they're able to engage in a whole new audience and younger demographic, female demographic. And so that's from a business side, but I think for female drivers, it's just amazing to get the opportunity because again, I wish F1 Academy existed when I was younger, and I'm so grateful for Formula E to have this women's test, and it's been really great to see brands take that initiative. And I hope it
Yeah,
continues to rise up in that direction.
absolutely. How much did you feel like you needed to have saved or, accumulated in funding before you could kind of go back into racing full time?
Oh gosh, it was just tough because back in college, you don't make any money. So I'm like, how in certain series, like my dad made it adamantly known. He's like, I'm not paying for your racing anymore. You are an adult. Like it's so expensive that he put so much investment at an early age that I didn't expect him to. And I didn't even ask, honestly. I knew I had to do it myself from when I became an adult. So I just knew it cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, I know I can't work and save up for this. Like, I just know I have to like get sponsorships and figure out ways to make these big money like moves, I guess. Um, yeah, so it wasn't necessarily a dollar amount. Like, I was really fortunate. I joined this back in the day in COVID. There were like the Hype House, and there was this one content house called Clubhouse, which I was a part of. I was back that was back when I was still doing the TikTok dances, everything. You know how the creator space changes constantly, but Clubhouse, that content house, ended up sponsoring my racing, so they just paid the whole bill for the season, which was amazing. And that was in touring cars, so it was expensive, but it was doable. And I think from there, having that exposure, being a race car driver, it attracts other brands to then be like, okay, like we want to sponsor her. Like C4 Energy then came in as my primary sponsor and sponsored me for 2 years. And that was great. And so yeah, there wasn't a set like dollar amount. I was just trying to hustle and get any program together. And I was really fortunate that again, that content creator house, I would never have been a part of if I wasn't an influencer. And that's literally who sponsored me for racing. And so it just worked out like again, creator to driver.
Oh, no, it absolutely makes sense. When you're looking kind of like longer term, right, in the next 5 years, aside obviously your own racing career, where do you see kind of this space and specifically women in motorsports growing?
I mean, I hope it just continues to grow and grow, and I hope that we can see women kind of break out from the F1 Academy as well and find funding into the higher tiers of racing, like Formula 3, Formula 2, even Formula E. The new Gen 4 car is so fast, so cool, and I think it's great if we could get a female driver into Formula E. Like it's great to have these tests and like this all-female series, but I really want to see women and men competing together at the higher levels. And I do think women and men can compete together. And I love what they're doing at that level, but I want to see women rise to the top. And so I think continued support and investment to women is really important from brands. And then obviously I'm going to do my part to try to keep posting and showing that you can do it. And then my goal in I would say 5 to 10 years is I always want to be, hopefully I'm still racing and I've gotten to the top level of like weather tech and I'm racing in Le Mans. I'm doing, being a very successful race car driver at the top levels. That's my goal, of course, but I really want to, a goal of mine has been to start like a female agency that represents female drivers and gets funding to them. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be race car driving. It could be drifting. It could be like, honestly, I'm deciding if I want to do female drivers or female athletes in general. I've really want to be a part of the motorsport space though still. And I love being in front of the camera. So if I can do any sort of like reporting, whether that be in Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, like I just love being a part of motorsports. And I always want to be a part of the industry, whether I'm driving or I'm not. So that's kind of.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. And again, I like that you're focusing on that, getting that funding because it seems to be the biggest barrier as of now.
Yes, again, like I really, because there's a lot of women who can't get that seat in F1 Academy as well. Like there are so many women who maybe didn't get a chance to prove themselves, and so they weren't and they didn't have that social media at first, so they weren't recognized by F1 Academy because there's so few seats, and I want there to be more than those 20 some drivers that there are. Like, I want to be able to give opportunity to women who need it, and that funding is it's crazy.
Yeah. If you had one message or one thing to tell brands and potential sponsors that are like maybe thinking about sponsoring or contributing to a female racing driver's career, what's the one big thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
It's smart marketing for you. I don't care if not only you should care about wanting to help female athletes and diverse athletes, but I think it's just a smart business play. Like, having women, like, you unlock an entire new demographic. You unlock, it's such great partnership opportunities. Again, not only for their marketing and visibility of helping a female athlete, but again, it's just great because you're unlocking a whole new audience. And I do think women are big consumers, and it's great for, you see women are, they're the ones who drive most of the sales, even for their husbands and boyfriends. So I think again, it's a really smart business play. And there are, I don't know off the top of my head, but I was doing research, and there's a lot of great statistics of brands who have helped fund women. Like, they see a lot of upside to that. And so I mean, I could send over the statistics I found, but you could look it up, and it is really, I'm not just saying this, it does help businesses a lot to invest in women. So
To a young female racing driver now who's maybe faced
mhm.
with the question of what do I do to get funding? How do I get more money to get to the next step? What's the one big piece of advice you have for them?
Honestly, from my perspective, I do think you do really need to focus on making a brand of yourself. And I think social media and being a creator is a great play. Like, you see it with even Formula One drivers. They've kind of become like global creators themselves, and the social media that they're doing. So my thing is, like, do post and do, if you love it, like, you need to post and do what you love and what you're passionate about, and try to make a name for yourself. Like, work harder than everyone else. I would say, like, work harder than any other driver, man or woman, that you're competing against, and just don't stop. Email hundreds and hundreds of brands, talk about, like, what your goals are, what you want to do. But I think hard work, and you just can't have the mindset that, oh, I might not make it. Like, you have to be almost delusional. Like, even if you don't fully believe in yourself, like, you have to, like, convince, and just, you do have to, like, fully believe that you're gonna make it there. And if you do that, and you combine that with hard work, you can get anywhere you set your mind to. And it's super cheesy sounding, but I fully believe that. So, but I do recommend creating a brand of yourself, and showing valuable content and engaging with your audience. And I think that will really be a value set to any partners that you're wanting to bring on.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. Personal branding feels more important than ever now.
Yes, and it sucks for some people. I know, like, even some of my co-drivers in Rafa Racing, the team I'm with now, they don't like doing social media, but they just know how important it is, and so they're doing it. But again, like, you have to post what you want to post, or else it's gonna seem tedious. Like, I don't know. You just got to find a way to, like, create value and do what you love, and it is such an asset right now, and the space is constantly changing. But right now, that's my biggest advice. Even if you don't necessarily love social media, I think it is really important and helpful in new age marketing for brands. So that's my advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for speaking with us today. This was great. That's all I have from
Yeah. Thank
us.
you so much for
Yeah.
having me.